Unit 3, Learning Target 5f plus. I can factor a sum or difference of cubes. So as you see, there's two formulas there. This would be a good time to pause the video and look at it and try to figure out what kind of patterns we have going on in here. But in general, it's a sum or difference, so that means it's addition or subtraction of cubes. So that means it's something to the third power. Example 1, x to the third minus 125. Well, x to the third is obviously something to the third already. 125, though, you'd have to notice that that's the same thing as saying 5 to the third. So right now we've got a sum, because it's plus, of two things that are cubed. So looking at our formulas, we know we're going to use the top one because it's plus. So it says that for your formula you're going to do x plus y. Well, x is x, and in this case our y, just our second thing, is 5. So x plus 5. Then it says x squared minus xy plus y squared. So since the first thing was positive, we know that the second sign is going to be negative. That third sign is always positive. So x squared is basically just the first thing squared. In this case, our first thing is x. Then the second piece says xy. Basically, all you're doing is you're multiplying your two pieces. So we're going to multiply 5x. Again, since we started out and our first one is positive, this one's going to be negative. Then this last piece of the formula, y squared, means whatever the second thing is, square it. So in this case, our second thing is 5, so we put 5 squared. Simplify our stuff. X plus 5 is just x plus 5. X squared is just x squared. 5x is just 5x. But 5 squared we can say is 25. If that was a little confusing, I understand why. It's got quite a bit going on in the formula. So watch example 2, example 3, try to find some patterns and see how this is working. And if you don't understand, then please feel free to ask. So looking at example 2, again, the first thing we need to do is get it to be something to the third. Right now I'm saying x to the third, but 8 is just on the outside looking in. If we looked for a greatest common factor to maybe help us, well, you can't take out anything from 8 and 27. So there is no greatest common factor. But we do know that 8 is 2 squared. So we can say that 8x to the third is the same as 2x to the third. Then it's subtraction. 27 we know is 3 to the third. So, looking at our formula, we know that since our original is subtraction, we're going to have a subtraction sign and then a plus sign, and our last one is always a plus sign. So this one matches here. The next one is always the opposite sign. The last one is always plus. I don't know why I put two S's. Alright, so our formula says x minus y. Well, x is just whatever your first thing is. So in this case, our x per se is 2x. Our y then would be 3. So x minus y. It's just the first thing minus the second thing. Then the next part of our formula says x squared. So that's just the first thing you have down squared. Then it says xy, so multiply the two things. We've got 2x, and we want to multiply it by 3. The last part says y squared, so that's just your second thing, whatever it is. In this case it's 3 squared. Simplify your stuff. 2x minus 3 is just 2x minus 3. 2x squared, we could say 2 squared is 4x squared. 2x times 3x is 6x. Then 3 squared is 9. We are finished. Last example. Again, we always look for our greatest common factor first. I'm seeing that a 3 could be taken out of both of those things. So 3 comes out, 24 divided by 3 is 8, x to the third. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So let's rewrite these things so that it's something to the third. Well, 8x to the third. 8 is 2 to the third, so 2x to the third. That's how we would rewrite that one. 1 is a little, maybe just not obvious, but we could rewrite that and say 1 to the third. 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. So fill into our formula. Since our original is a sum, we know that this one's going to be plus, then we'll have a minus, then we'll have a plus. So the first piece, 2x, goes there. The second piece, 1, goes there. Then it's the first thing squared. Then you multiply your two pieces. Then it's the last piece squared. Simplified, we've got 2x plus 1. 2x squared is 4x squared. 2x times 1 is just 2x. 1 squared is 1. All done. Factoring a sum or difference of cubes isn't something that comes up very often, but it does come up every once in a while, so it is a good thing to know. See if you can find patterns again in the formulas so that you don't have to necessarily memorize the x, the y's, the positives and negatives. Just try to find the patterns and think about that rather than memorizing the formula.